You're watching BuyPBL's Gab-fest. Guest opinions do not reflect the opinions of the show's sponsors. Video and audio quality is determined by the individual partaking in the program. We apologize in advance for any enlightened views of the industry or hurt feelings.
And ladies and gentlemen, here we are at 2011 Huntington Beach NPPL event. I'm Louis D'Alessio, guest host of Gab-fest, sitting here with Chuck Hendsch, COO of the NPPL. How you doing, buddy?
I'm doing great. How you doing, Louis?
No complaints. It's been a long time, but I think the last time we actually seen each other was back in 95, 96 on the field, hasn't it?
That's right. We were up in Montreal, and I think it was a three-man event at Tombstone, right?
Long stories according to that. It was a three-man for sure. All the Americans used to come in, had a great time, but I think you have specific events that happened that time that was pretty cool, wasn't it?
Yeah, I was playing with the All-Americans, and those were the good old days, you know, for sure. And no, it was a great tournament. We had a lot of fun, a lot of late nights, and a lot of events that probably aren't proper for the viewers out there.
I agree. You got to admit, though, a little different between playing the events and running the events right now, huh?
Yeah, you know, running the events, it's a much different thing, and I've basically retired from pro paintball, you know, to run the events. So yeah, it's much different.
I noticed that. I see a lot of players today that used to play back in the past with us, taking care of things right now, organization and on. Chuck, I got a lot of questions online viewers have been asking. You mind if I ask you a few questions that they've been asking online?
Yeah, go right ahead. That's awesome.
Perfect. All right. First one that they have. What is your role with the NPPL?
Well, I've basically taken a backstage with the NPPL. I'm the Chief Operating Officer. We've brought on a lot of different people to run the NPPL. And so I basically am behind the scenes running operations. So getting the dates and the venues set, negotiating the hotel deals, negotiating the venue deals, the sponsorships, the outside sponsorships, relationships like with ESPN. That's what's critical. And so that we can start the year off with a solid calendar and everybody's aware of what's going on with us.
Next question for you. What's the most enjoyable aspect of running the NPPL for you?
Monday morning.
When it's all said and done, I completely understand that one.
It's a lot of work, and you know, I really like to see everybody having a good time here. And people ask me like, "Hey, how's the event running?" Because I'm running the event, I don't know. I mean, it's the people having good time. That's really what it's all about. But for me, you know, it's getting through the event. You know, honestly, I mean, it's running a first-class event. There's a lot going on. We're highly stressed during the event, and then when it's all said and done, you know, that's when we get to enjoy.
All right, here's another one. What's one thing during the event that has to be 100% right for you to breathe easy?
Oh, geez. I mean, there's a lot of things that you know, it really takes to run an event. I mean, you have to have the air, right? If the air trailer goes down, you're messed up. You know, in the old days, it used to have really good paint, but we have solid paint manufacturers making balls, so the paint is pretty much taken care of. The prizes are taken care of. I would say the referees is another that's a critical element of running an event. So we do a lot of ref training and getting the quality referees here. You know, those are the key factors that we focus on running a good event. And then it's just all about starting the thing. Once it starts, then the machine's going and it just takes over itself. We're going to have a terrific weekend, and the weather was great. I mean, we're out here on the beach and it's sunny and people are just smiling and the bikinis are out, and you know, you can't complain about that.
All right, here we go. Next one that they got from online. What draws you to the 7-man format? That's a good question.
Yeah, you know, I mean, back in the day, everyone knows the NPPL split, and we took the NPPL and you had PSP, and we went 7-man. And the primary reason for going 7-man was, in my opinion, was the Euros. You know, the Millennium Series was 7-man at the time, and I talked a lot with Laurent about it, and I played over there with Dynasty for many years playing the 7-man format. It's a good format. It's great. It's easy to film. Unlike 5-man, where if you lose a couple guys, you still have a game. You can lock it up. So it's an exciting game to watch. You know, it's not 10-man, which I also enjoy, but getting 10 guys together is hard. You know, so I think 7-man is definitely the game. You know, and in addition to that, we like semi-auto only. And this year we're trying out the 15 ball cap to see how that goes, but it's semi-only, no enhanced, you know, triggers or ramping, you know, so that's important to us.
Fantastic. So you actually do cap the guns right now at 15 ball BPS if you can actually shoot that fast.
That's correct. Yep. And we're trying out some new software this weekend. We put chips in all the pro guns, and we have a computer monitor that we watch and monitor. And when they step out on the field, we get 14 markers, 14 numbers, and 14 player names. And we can monitor live what their BPS is. And it's incredible technology, and I think that's going to be something that you're going to see a lot more of coming in the future.
That's incredible, man. Being from the paintball scene from back in the day, this is absolutely incredible. Seeing where it's at today and where we came from, it's absolutely amazing.
Chills, just thinking about it. It's like, wow, that's incredible technology, and we can do it here. It's
Completely agree with you, man. Absolutely incredible. I have another one for you. Do you feel the 7-man format is finally at its best?
I think so. I mean, we've fine-tuned it, but there's always room for improvement. And we've got a solid rules committee. Rich Telford heads up our rules committee. Tom Cole's our commissioner. We're constantly revising the rules and the format to make it better for the players, the spectators, and for television. We also offer, the pump division and the 5-man. So we embrace all formats. But we really like the 7-man. You might even see some 2-man coming up. We like that too. We're talking to X Games. So, that might be the way to go for the X Games format is like a 2-player. But we like 7-man. I think we're sticking with it.
I don't blame you, man. I think it's a phenomenal event. From playing overseas, I agree with you. It definitely stemmed from back there, and they run an amazing event overseas, no question about that.
Absolutely, yep.
All right, let's get to the next one.
The French, right?
The French, you know it.
Yeah,
We get picked on that all my life here.
Yeah, but they're always coming up with those innovative things. You follow the French, whatever they're doing, then you tweak it. And, I was always impressed with the tournaments that Laurent put on.
He's been a fantastic organizer, no question. All right, here's the next one. What's one of the hardest thing about running the NPPL for you?
Wow, the hardest thing, I guess it's just trying to make everybody happy. You come to the event and, if a sponsor doesn't like a spot or a team doesn't get the right call or, and for me, it's we want to make sure that everybody has a good time. And sometimes you can't please everybody, but we try our darndest, so that's probably the hardest thing is just to make everybody happy. And for those of you that may have had a bad experience there, who are, I've had them all, with calls or what have you, weather, things like that. It's just be patient with us. We're every day we work to make it better for you guys.
Absolutely. With weather, you can't control Mother Nature, unfortunately. You can do all the best you can, but...
Yeah, but that's what I worry about the most. Everybody says, Chuck, don't worry about the weather. I go, yeah, but I got to worry about the weather, They don't call me the sunshine kid for nothing, Reputation,
What would you love... what do you love seeing happen during the event? What's the one thing you love the most to see during the event?
I like to see good competition. I like to see the families out here. I like the moms, that get involved and the dads that get involved. The smiles on people's faces. That's what really, drives me. And it, I started back in 1984 as a referee. And one thing that struck me, I wasn't into paintball, but that everybody that came off the field had a smile on their face, and they had a good time. And, that's basically what I love seeing during the event.
Talking about the spectators, it's absolutely incredible. From back in the day to what you're seeing now, mothers, families, kids, children. I've seen an infant right now being bottle fed out there. It's unbelievable.
Yeah, it's truly a family event, and if you play paintball at this level, you need support, whether it's from your girlfriend, your wife, your parents, and it's a good family bonding thing, sort of like motocross. You kind of get into it. It becomes a lifestyle, and paintball for many people is a lifestyle, and it is for me at least.
This is a good question people have been asking. NPPL has a strong web presence on ESPN broadcasting games. Where do you see paintball should be sitting in the world of television right now?
Well, I think ESPN's a perfect partner for paintball. Every Saturday morning you get up and what do you see on TV? You see fishing, you see all these different, shows. You've got the spelling bee, paintball, you got poker. Are you a poker player?
Absolutely.
Absolutely, yeah. So I think paintball has a place in sports, and I think ESPN's the right partner for us. We've worked with Fox Sportsnet in the past. They've been great, but we've got the best results with ESPN, and so we're talking to them right now, and hopefully we can form a partnership with them to bring you guys paintball on a weekly basis.
I got another question coming up here. Is there any tournament trend or rule or format that you personally would love to see come back?
Well, I grew up in the woods, so if we could film this thing in the woods, I would go back to the woods. I'm playing in the UWL. I don't play professionally anymore, but I do have a team called the Henchmen, and we play in the UWL. We're ranked first right now. We beat out Bobby last couple weeks ago in Nevada. But the woods, a lot of people have said, hey, all the old school guys, for those of you who haven't played in the woods, you're just speedball guys, you got to go try it. So go get out in the woods, pick up a pump gun, and go play some ball.
It's unbelievable. Out of probably 75% of the people playing your pro bracket right now, never probably shot a marker in the woods.
That's true. They probably never shot a 12 gram. Like what's that? But honestly, if you want to practice, go get yourself a 12 gram pump gun and go out and shoot that. And your mind and the way you slow down the game, it'll really help your tournament game and your semi-automatic game. For sure.
Oh, this is a good one. How important is the right location for your NPPL events?
Well, the first thing they teach you in Business 101 is location, location, location. And location is key. Obviously, Huntington Beach is a great location for us. We've also, due to some of the recessionary things that have happened in the United States, we've gone back to paintball parks. And I really feel comfortable about going to PEVs and CPX. They're quality parks. PEV has invested a ton of money in Washington, D.C., the PEV's paintball park. So those are two great locations. And then we have Vegas. But location is everything, whether it's, Qualcomm Stadium or Raymond James Stadium in Tampa. It's having the relationship with the city and with the right marketing and being a destination point. Location is key. The players, they need cheap hotel rooms or, inexpensive ones. They need good airfare flights. You need access, food, girls, nightlife. So that all goes into it, so location is big. If you're a tournament promoter, you got to start there.
So definitely location is one of the key aspects of running events. What's one horror story that this day haunts you about dealing with locations?
Oh my gosh, there's quite a few. I would have to say in 2006 though, if you guys remember Katrina, being in Florida is always dicey, especially at the end of the year. You got the hurricane season. And we had just had Katrina. It destroyed Miami. We had the deal with ESPN. We had to make a decision whether or not we were going to run the event. And we chose to run the event in a city where 2 million people didn't have power. It was hard to get generators. And we ended up pulling it off. But that could have very well been a nightmare. But we actually pulled it off.
Have you ever been affected by weather at all the events, or have you been lucky to say you got through every one so far?
Knock on wood, weather's been pretty good to us. I remember New Jersey NPPL a while back. It was a mud bath, but it kind of had character. Guys were losing their shoe in the mud as they were running, and then the ref would call them out because they lost a piece of equipment. I mean, it was bad, but we made a good event out of it, and we had tiki torches all over the place. We laid down the hay, and, if you're a tournament promoter, that was it for me.
Find yourself checking the forecast online the week before, the week during, especially the night of, aren't you?
Yeah, and I'm ready for a tsunami. I mean, we had tsunami warnings here 3-4 weeks ago. That could happen, and as a promoter, you really have to, we're prepared for high winds in the afternoon. We're prepared for rain. We want to run the event, rain or shine, and so that's what we prepare for. And then if it happens, we're prepared. If it doesn't happen, well then,
That's what makes it be a phenomenal event, guys, organization. All right, next question. What's been a hard lesson learned in the times creating the world-class events?
Hard lesson learned. Dealing with all the permits in the cities, city council, the police department. We showed up at the Tweeter Center in Chicago, and I relied on Clear Channel. Great company. They own the Tweeter Center. They've had hundreds of thousands of people there for concerts, and there we were, relying on them to pull all the permits, and at the very last minute, they didn't pull the permits. So then I had to scramble with city council. I had to scramble with the parking plan, everything. The police, they wanted to see everything, and so that was a hard lesson learned. So it's all about preparation, and that'll never happen again.
The USPL decided to purchase the NPPL name. What was your thoughts with choosing the NPPL branding over the existing USPL branding?
Well, first, when the league had its problems a couple of years back and folded, the pros needed somewhere to play. And, that's been the case all these years. So we went with the USPL, and not knowing what the future of the NPPL was, we created the USPL, and it worked good. But we really feel, the owners of the NPPL, there's now, I think, 13 of us. They're all pro teams. We felt there's years of branding in the NPPL name, and we didn't want to, worldwide, and we did not want to let that die. And I even talked to some of the outside sponsors like Activision, that did the NPPL video game, and they said, well, you got a lot of brand equity there. So we definitely went after the name, purchased it back, and revitalized it, and it's been good to us. We don't hear anything about what happened two years ago. It's all about moving forward.
Absolutely, and what you guys have been pulling off once again is a class act. There's no question about that. So, what's your thoughts? I've been talking to the PSP and also back and forth. People have been asking online. What's your thought of merging a league, making one league? What's your thoughts on that?
Oh, well, that's a good question. I mean, I think there hasn't been a year gone by that we haven't, sat down and tried to talk with the PSP or, all the leagues for that matter. Talking to our owners group, we really see that there should be a governing body, a worldwide governing body. If we can all get together and, operate under that governing body, we're all for it. And if that means running a big World Cup and NPPL, Commanders Cup in Vegas or in Orlando, then we should consider it. At the very least, we need one rule. We need rules. There could be a lot of different formats, but we should all get behind one rule, and we should promote it, together. The manufacturers, the tournament operators, and it should be worldwide. I would take a page out of FIFA. If we could kind of emulate what FIFA does with soccer, and of course there's leagues all over the world that fall under FIFA, then I think that's the direction we should go.
All right, guys, here we are once again with Chuck Hendsch. I'm Louis D'Alessio signing out. Huntington Beach 2011. See you next time.
Thanks for watching BuyPBL's Gab-fest. For more information on upcoming programs, visit gab-fest.com. While you're there, join the discussions.